Short games are an absolute thing of beauty. Now, you might be kind of confused by that statement because it seems like a lot of times nowadays it's about the most content-filled, the most expansive, the largest open world game you can think of, right? And I used to think that way as well. I am a huge avid fan of the Persona series, most especially Persona 5, which if you've played that game before, you know it's a freaking behemoth of a game. I was obsessed so much that I played it twice, and that dedicated about 300 hours of my life, along with Final Fantasy 16 as well. That's not quite as big, but it's a very long game, along with countless other games that I've devoted a lot of time to. Now, it's kind of funny. As I've gotten a bit older, as I've gotten a job, as I've taken on real life, it's a little bit harder for me nowadays to devote my time to huge behemoth games and still feel satisfied. You know, I think that when it comes down to it, when I come home from work sometimes, I want to play some games, and I'll try to play a long game, a long open world game. And I kind of chip away at maybe 1% of it for like an hour or 2 hours, and I just feel like I'm not really getting anywhere with it. And it's just tough because I want to feel accomplished. I want to be able to beat a game again, you know, but life gets in the way, work gets in the way. Sometimes things just get in the way, they become obstacles, and they can be tough to play really long games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or even some of the shorter long games. And so what did I do? I picked up a little game called Stray, and I absolutely loved it. This game was so beautifully told, so well paced. The visuals were absolutely stunning. I had to turn the lights off in my room to get the full cyberpunk mini-city experience that this cat was going through. And what I can say is that this game has kind of gotten me back into real gaming again. And I think part of the reason for that is like the game is like 4 to 6 hours at most. And that was the perfect length for me to beat. I beat it within a week. And I would keep coming back to it each night, and I was able to make forward progress in the game. And when I finally beat the game, I felt accomplished. I was like, wow, I beat a game. It was a fantastic game, and it fit within my work-life schedule of balance. And then, you know, this game got me thinking about other past short games that I loved to play. The reason I loved Stray so much was that not only were the visuals beautiful, not only was the premise interesting, and there was always a sense of mystery to uncover with this little cat exploring the different levels of a different cyber city in order to reach the surface, but I also felt like there was this kind of mindfulness that the game had, where I just felt super present in it. It was kind of the quietness, the silence of it, the different robots making their little weird sounds while talking. It was whimsical, but it was really captivating. And I almost didn't mind exploring more because I knew it was a short game, so I knew that there was a little bit of added benefit, and I had the extra energy and time to do a little additional exploration because I knew the package was a little bit smaller. And like I said, it got me thinking about past shorter games that I played, and one that immediately came to mind is one of my favorite games of all time, which is Shadow of the Colossus. And what I've found about sometimes with these shorter games is they can pack a bit of more of an emotional punch than super long games, right? I still love my long games, don't get me wrong. But what I like about short games is that the feelings don't fleet you as quickly. Sometimes with a long game, it's so dragged out that, you know, you can kind of lose certain feelings along the way. I know Final Fantasy 16, the feelings were strong throughout, but, you know, it kind of dragged a little bit at a certain point, you know, and I stopped doing side quests and stuff because I didn't want to leave that epic feeling that I did, or had throughout it. And so the feelings that you play throughout short games remain fresh. Shadow of the Colossus, that epic feeling, that sense of mystery as well. There's always the sense of mystery I feel with some of these shorter games. And just the fact that it was a short game, but it was a game consisting of only what I love what my most loved thing about video games is boss battles. A game of just boss battles. And they did it in such a short, concise way that I didn't even mind that it was short, and I didn't feel like any of these games were a waste of money or not worth it, because at the end of the day, I was able to play them, I completed them in a reasonable time, and it kind of catered to my work schedule nicely, and it left me feeling accomplished. And it felt super mindful, and I really felt like these games affected me emotionally, especially towards the end of them, especially these two games. If you've played them, a little bit of a spoiler, but Stray's ending, absolutely left me feeling just so happy, but also just there was such melancholy to it, along with Shadow of the Colossus as well. There's just this huge reveal at the end, and it leaves you wanting more, but it also leaves you like, you know what, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with the shortness here of the games. If a sequel happens, it happens, but at the end of the day, I could be happy with where this is left off with. And even the last short game I'll mention, which is actually one of the longer short games if you consider it, and I know there's a ton out there that I still want to play, and it's inspiring me to get to play them, is Spider-Man Miles Morales. I know this game got a little bit of flack because it was like, kind of priced almost at a full price, but I think it came out at $50 and stuff. And this game actually is one of those prime examples of a shorter game that I really liked exploring all the extra content because I knew that it was a shorter game, and I wanted to just explore every little crevice of New York City because I knew that this was going to be like an 6 to 8 hour game if I just played the story. So getting those couple extra hours wasn't really any skin off my back because I knew I would have the time to do it. I knew I would be able to reach the end in a reasonable time, especially with my schedule. And I just had a lot of fun with it. It was fun playing as Miles. It was fun playing in a winter, cold New York City that was had this kind of nostalgic feeling to it, I grew up in New York City, so Spider-Man kind of holds a place in my heart, and especially the winter time in New York City, there's just something about the vibe of Miles styling around New York City, the story being nice and concise and still packing a freaking emotional punch at the end where I was inspired with Miles' energy the whole time, and then it created this sad, epic-ass ending that felt like even better than the other Spider-Man games at certain points. And I was able to experience the side missions and the extra content within an 8 to 10 hour time frame, which is that sweet spot that I really loved. So yeah, just with these 3 games and the other things that I mentioned, what I would say is the beauty of short games is that it's catered to everybody. You don't have to have a ton of patience to play them. I recommend games like Stray, like Miles Morales, like Shadow of the Colossus, and even some of these great smaller indie games on you go on the eShop or Steam, whatever. I'm getting more into indie games because I feel like the shorter games have such a beauty to them. They're crafted by, independent developers. I'm in the middle of Sea of Stars right now. I know that's not a short game, and that's gonna be by surprise. I was expecting that to be pretty short, but it's a long game. But I'm excited to play games like Limbo, I heard, and a few others that just pack an emotional punch. So yeah, look, if you guys have any recommendations for shorter games, please leave them in the comments below. I'm looking at Reddit. I'm getting super into just shorter games that I can, complete with my busy schedule. I work as a full-time firefighter, so it can be a bit tough, not only time-wise, but energy-wise with the whole sleep deprivation aspect of it. So please, if you have any recommendations for short games, indie games, whatever, please let me know in the comments below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video, alright? Peace.